Let's explore few more options with the piezo form. Okay, so we started discussion of laminar flow and cavity, square cavity we simulated. Now I suggest try to go towards skew cavity, skew 60. Okay, RA is very high, that means 3000. Try to establish a probe, something like on the center line, similar line. Try to establish probe of something 425. Okay, and try to simulate this test case, and later on do the averaging of it. Okay, and explore the probe and averaging concept with the help of this test case. Okay, so that is your one, let's say, assignment or the tutorial that you have to create, and as well as you have to run it. Okay, so please do that. Let's go towards really a unsteady phenomena. Okay, so flow over a circular cylinder, it is the best case. So let's go towards that test case, flow over circular cylinder. Okay, let me open the readme file. The same test case what we run for icoform. Okay, similar test case we're going to run with the piezo form. Okay, so let's first clean the case. Let's create the mesh, check mesh. Okay, so total mesh size is 12k. Okay, so very coarse mesh we have. Form, so this is the mesh we have. Okay, so let's run it with the help of the piezo form, and let's fix the RE. So RE is 250 only. Okay, and we're going to explore very quickly the unsteady phenomena with the help of the piezo form. So quickly you can check the this tailf file. So our current number is pretty high. Okay, but it is very simple flow, so you're not going to die. Okay, so but let's look at certain post-processing part with the help of this. Okay, so let's go to the system folder, control dict file. So our delta t is pretty high. You can change the delta t and explore the how it's varying. Okay, along with that I kept certain more functions in flow. Okay, so if you look at the certain outputs, okay, you can come to know averaged is already started, because I forgot to comment that. So when you start, please first comment that average part. Okay, along with that we have a CDCL, all the coefficients is also there. Then min max value, minimum pressure, maximum pressure, minimum velocity, maximum velocity. Okay, it gives the locations. Why it is important? I want to say that, let's say you are developing your own solver, okay, with the help of OpenFOAM. Then this all the output is very, very important. Let's say you develop a new boundary conditions. Okay, and because of that, let's say your simulation is diverging, but you don't know where exactly it's going wrong. Either it is because of your new developed solver or new developed boundary conditions, or it is something else. So if you put this type of output, okay, what it give you, if this location is very close to your boundaries, then it means that whatever you developed, okay, maybe it has some problem. Okay, so it gives us certain debugging type of concept if you look at this certain outputs. Okay, so sometimes this type of output is very, very handy tool to explore either our simulation is going correct way or not. Okay, so this all output options we're going to explore later on, but few things that we started here is the averaging similar line. But this function inside the function object, we kept the force object. Okay, and we try to calculate force on a cylinder. Okay, and along with that we try to look at the force coefficients. So CDCL value also we try to explore. Along with that min max for velocity and pressure. Okay, so certain things we started here. Okay, so let's see where our simulation reached. Okay, so quickly check ParaView and have a feeling either it's reached the unsteady nature or not. So okay, so unsteadiness is started. Okay, with this unsteadiness, okay, if it is started, okay, so let's keep a one or two probe on these particular locations. Okay, if you keep one or two probe on these locations, and then if you explore how exactly it's look like, so quickly we set a one or two probe in this location and rerun the case. Okay, so for that, what is required, it's required our coordinate axis. Okay, so it gives the idea. So 0 is exactly here, 0 0 is the center point of the this particular cylinder. So I want to put a probe at, let's say, on the 0 0 axis. Okay, and z mid as well. Okay, on that we require the one probe at a 1d diameter. That means if diameter is 1, so we supposed to keep one probe at a 1.5 in the second probe as a 2d diameter. So that means 3.5 then 5. Okay, and like that way we try to keep a certain probe in this direction and try to explore how exactly we going to get the probe out of it. Okay, so before we start, let's clean the again this case. Okay, and we try to put a probe in this. Okay, right now no probe is available. Okay, so if we want to keep a probe in this, so we have to copy that probe portion from our previous tutorials. So I am going in that area, so cavity. Okay, skew cavity. Here in control dig file we have this probe location. So nothing, you just have to copy this portion from here and place this option at here. Okay, so probe location, now we have to modify. So we want y equal to 0. Okay, everywhere. So let's fix y equal to 0. Okay, we want first probe at a 1.5, second probe 2.5, third probe 3, fourth probe at a 5 locations, and next probe at a 10 locations. Z, if we want the mid of Z, let's open the block mesh file, and in the Z directions we have a plus and minus 0.5. so if we fix Z equal to 0, it exactly goes as a Z mean. So I kept Z equal to 0. Sorry, I am editing different file, so let me first close this file. I'm supposed to edit this file. So 0 0, everything goes 0. Okay, so you understand, I want the probe at a center location. So this is what we did. Along with that, I don't want averaging concept here. Okay, so let me switch off averaging part. Functions, field average, I don't want to start, so I'm commenting this. Okay, save. Along with that, let's decrease the delta t to something like 10 to the power minus 5, or let's stick to 10 to the power minus 2. Okay, so that is what block mesh. Okay, and let's check we don't have any other entry here. Now let's restart the simulations. Okay, so we are restarting with our usual command tail f log f. Okay, let's check to the post processing area. Now we have probe 0. Along with that we have a file as well. Okay, so if you open this file, you come to know, okay, we have a total that many probe, and on that probe we try to recording the signals. Okay, so let's it run for a couple of more time step till it start the unsteady nature. Then we do the post processing of this probe. Okay, I am at a different location. Okay, so tail f log f. Let's look at how the lift and drag is going on. So GNU plot, that script you already used, so same script file. Okay, it's not started unsteadiness. Okay, let's see the CL value. Okay, yet to start. Okay, so maybe after 25 or so it's going to start the unsteadiness. Okay, and when it's exactly become or develop the dynamic nature, up to that we're going to run. Okay, and then we try to explore the probe as well, because we want to check the probe. So let's copy that our probe file from our previous tutorial, where it is cavity, square cavity, and cavity with this, and then we have this probe file. Okay, so we want both the probe files, so let's star and copy here. So we have that two file here. Let's edit that file. So, and so here we have X component. Okay, so let's say we only required one probe at a time. Okay, or let it be two, later on we refine if we required, but right now we don't know the range for this. So let's change this range. Okay, so 1 2 1 5 and 1 8. Okay, so X component we are exploring here. Let's change in the Y as well, because we don't know what is the range is suitable. Okay, so we are exploring this, and U final is supposed to be the file. Later on we try to change that. Okay, so till CD is yet to fluctuate in the large way. Slowly it's going to happen. Okay, check how the paraform is look like. Look, it's yet to start unsteadiness. Only 20 seconds. Okay, maybe another 20 or 30 seconds it's going to start. Okay, so meanwhile it's doing these calculations. Let's explore certain things. Okay, so we right now dealing with the flow over a circular cylinder, but what I want from your side is something like this way. You take this block mesh file. Okay, right now our mesh is very coarse. Okay, so try to refine the mesh. Okay, so refine the mesh appropriately, so that near the cylinder, that means near to this cylinder, you get a 10 to the power minus 3 as a fixed that cell size. And let's first look at the mesh, so I will able to tell you. So near the wall, this first cell height suppose 10 to the power minus 3. Okay, so you fix that cell size. Okay, and biggest size up to here you can go something like 10 to the power minus 2. Okay, so within this zone you have very pretty fine mesh. Okay, and appropriately assign the mesh. So and even with this in this zone, okay, you have a very fine mesh in this area. Okay, up to here. Let me exactly tell you up to what length you supposed to have very fine mesh. So up to, let's say 12 or 10 you have a fine mesh. Okay, and with that type of mesh, try to run something like R equal to 5000 Ks flow over circular cylinder, or maybe R equal to 10,000 Ks. Okay, and and try to look at this probe and try to check how all the fluctuation inside the probe, and you will get a very nice turbulence state in that particular probe. Okay, so if you want to explore, you can do that thing very quickly with flow over a circular cylinder. So try to look at certain things with the help of this particular tutorial. Okay, it is a very very good tutorial to explore certain things. Okay, yet to start unsteadiness. Let's check the CL value. Okay, now it's almost going to start. Okay, going very fast at a upper level. So let's see, maybe when you refine the mesh, you can see this dynamic nature going to trigger quite early. Okay, So maybe right now we have to wait till 10 to the power till something like 50 second or so, 50-60. But when you refine the mesh, maybe you observe that this unsteadiness may trigger even at a something like 20 or 15 as well. Okay, so when the mesh is fine, you will get a very nice capture of the boundary layer, and that boundary layer going to depart from the solid object and become the free shear layer. Okay, so that capturing pretty good, and if we able to capture boundary layer very nicely, then in that case we can get this unsteadiness very quickly as well. Okay, so that is how one can check. Meanwhile it's simulating. Let's go to the probe area. Okay, okay, let's do the post processing for probe. So let's first create the file. Okay, one. Okay, now we have to erase the bracket. Okay, if you remember, when we clean this probe file for cavity, we try to erase the brackets with the help of these two commands. Okay, so let's erase the bracket. Okay, so this is how you can erase the bracket, by running these two command. Okay, so okay, let's check the file. So it is clean file. Okay, so now our this file is clean. So let's go back and do the post processing for that. Okay, so we are here. So GNU plot. Okay, and we want to check the uprobe. Okay, so right now it is I already run for, let's say, 10 to the power 120 seconds. Okay, so that's why you get this very nice probes. Okay, so meanwhile the simulation is going on, we also started the averaging part. Okay, so I started the averaging something like when the simulation reached at 80 seconds, then I started this averaging. Okay, and when the averaging is started, along with our normal instantaneous flow field, it also gives us the idea about the mean velocity, statistic of velocities, that means Reynolds stresses, 6 component Reynolds stress. Along with that, you also going to get a mean pressure and statistic of pressure. Okay, so P dash quantities. So like that way you can look at. But what exactly one has to do is by looking these probe locations. Okay, so look, almost probe become mature at this particular location after something like 80-90. Okay, so one supposed to start the averaging, that means one supposed to start putting this uncomment of this particular portion after the something like 80 or 90 second. Best is something like 100. So when you run, you first comment this portion, and when your simulation reach something like 100 second, you start the averaging part. And averaging I did something like up to from 100 to something like 80-90 to 140, so something like 60 second or so I did the averaging. Okay, and let's now look at the CD also, how the CD plot look like. Okay, so script plot CL and CD. So look, the CD and CL plot also give you the idea exactly when the flow become dynamically steady state. So if you look at after something like 95 or so, flow is taking repeatedly plus and minus 0.4. Okay, so it gives you the idea exactly when you supposed to start the averaging. So either you go with the probe or go with this CDCL plots. Okay, so normally if you are working with the flow or a blub body type of the calculation, then rely on CDCL plots. If you are working with internal flows, then you have to rely on this probe part. Okay, so that is how one can see. either I can start the averaging or not. Let's say we did this averaging, so let's go to the paraform, okay, and check the result. So basic idea is how the average flow field result look like. Okay, for that let's first create a one slice. Okay, so this is the slice. Okay, and on this slice we do certain post processing. So let's first check our instantaneous part. Go to the last portion. Look, flow is completely unsteady flow. Okay, so if you want to check, you start the simulations. Okay, and after certain time it give you this unsteady phenomena. Okay, so you can construct very nice animation out of it. Okay, and that give you the visualization of this particular instantaneous things. Now we want to explore the mean quantities. Okay, so for that let's go here and first activate all the variables. Okay, so variable is on. Now on this our slice, check mean quantities. So this is our instantaneous quantity. Let's look at the mean quantity. Okay, so we started something like at 90 or so. So look, near about 90, if you check the mean and instantaneous, it's hardly vary. Okay, but when you increase the averaging slowly, look, now we are going towards the accurate averaging part. Okay, so after a certain more averaging, if our flow field doesn't change, then we say that whatever the number of cycles we consider for averaging is sufficient. Okay, but best way to look at this averaging is by looking at a line plots. Okay, so for that let's do certain line plots type of post processing. So on this slice, let's y, and on the y I want very close to this cylinder. Okay, so this is the location where I want the few quantities to be plotted. So first switch off everything. Okay, and check the mean x component. Okay, so this is the mean x component at that particular location. Okay, let's put few more line on that particular slice. So another line, same way y. Okay, but this time not at a 1, let's say put it at a 5. Okay, switch off this, go here and activate this line, and on this again switch off everything. Okay, and only activate the x component. Look, so when you go away from this cylinder, you get a flatter type of the profile. Okay, even you go little bit further away, you will see, let's say go to the 10, almost bell shape type of the profile is visible. Okay, let's go to at this location, let's go to 12, almost flatter profile you're going to get if you go away from this cylinder. Okay, so this is how one can check the averaging concept, but how one can say that this averaging is up to the mark or not. Okay, so for that you have to check all these quantities, that means you can check x component, y component, everything. Okay, and let's go to the last entry. Okay, this u mean, y mean. Okay, at that far locations. Okay, let's check near close to the cylinder how it look like. So one is at a 5 locations. Okay, and another is at a 1 location next to the cylinder. Look, so if you are very close to the cylinder, okay, this is how you can see the mean y component. Okay, mean y. Similar line you can check the pressures at mean pressure at that locations. Okay, so mean pressure behaves something like this way. Okay, so if you look at the averaging, let's say we check the average of 130. Okay, and when you go towards 140, and if this line is not changing, that means we can say that whatever the averaging we did, time averaging, is sufficient. Okay, so in the unsteady flow, this averaging is very very important, I say. Okay, why? Because normally when people are working with the unsteady or transient flow, they do the post processing in different phases. First post processing goes with the instantaneous part, where you can check the instantaneous verticity, streamline plot and everything. Second, people try to look at is this time averaged post processing, where they try to check this time averaged let's say time average streamline. So let's quickly check how the time average streamline here is look like. Okay, so sorry, I activated not a streamline but this thing, and I want on a line source. Okay, and y equal to this one. Okay, we are still in the unsteady. Why? Because vector we have to change from here to mean. Okay, when you do that and then change the location like this way. Okay, look, you can see very nice bubble behind the circular cylinder, and over a iterations, okay, when you change it not supposed to change. Okay, so until that part, if you average, then we say whatever the averaging we did, it is a correct averaging. This is a time averaged, and if you want instantaneous, just switch here. This is the instantaneous. Okay, so this is how one can see the different post processing in this ParaView. So normally people do with the instantaneous type of the streamline contour plot, time average streamline contour plots, verticity plots, along with that line plots what I showed you at a different locations, and try to compare with the available literatures. Okay, so this is how you can explore this one tutorial. But what I want from your side is following thing. You pick up this tutorial. Okay, you pick up this tutorial and change this tutorial in following ways. First, let me show you the grid size wise modifications. Okay, so right now if you see, this is our grid size. Okay, so near the wall it is not that fine, so I suggest go with the 10 to the power minus 3 is the grid size near the wall, and first in the maximum size at the end of this circular domain, it's something 10 to the power minus 2. Okay, so 10 to the power minus 3 near the cylinder, 10 to the power minus 2 in this zone, and then respectively you can change the grid size away from this circular part. Along with that, if you see here up to 12 or 10, you can give a very fine mesh in this zone. Okay, and then you have a coarser mesh, and try to run the case for R equal to something like 5000 or so, and in the similar line keep certain probes. Okay, check the probe output. Okay, then if the probe become dynamic nature, or check the CDCL value, if the fluctuation is within the band, then go for, let's say, time averaging. Then you activate the time averaging from this particular portion. Okay, along with that, when you finish the time averaging, try to compare the data with the maybe available open literature. So if you want exact comparison, then first search a, let's say, paper flow over circular cylinder for higher RE, turbulent flow over circular cylinder. Okay, and then appropriately run the case. Okay, and the domain size is perfectly all right. I have no worry about that part. Okay, but change the grid size. When you change the mesh size, don't forget to change this delta t. Maybe you have to work with 10 to the power minus 3 or minus 4 depending on your RE. Okay, and when you want to change the RE, you can change the RE multiple ways. Either go toward constant and transport property. Okay, change this value and your RE going to be changed. Okay, in the similar line, you can either change the velocity. Okay, and you can change the RE. Either of this way you can change the RE and run for a higher RE. Okay, so there, and try to apply all this post processing what I showed you in this particular tutorial on that high RE test case, and create a very nice animation. Try to explore or export a very nice plots, contour plots, streamline plots, verticity plots. Okay, as well as line plots, anything. Okay, let me show you quickly how you can construct the verticity out of it. So on the command line, just type verticity. Okay, and if you want the verticity at a last time step, okay, then type latest time. Then it give you the verticity exactly at the last time. If you want verticity for all your backup file, then don't give anything. If you want the particular range, then type a time and let's say 100 to 200. This is the range and type. Within that range it will try to calculate the verticity. What is that mean? Whatever the backup file you have, in each one backup file it try to write a verticity extra file. So if you look at this folder, okay, you will see verticity is written here, and this can be accessed when you go to the ParaView. Okay, and ParaView, go to the last instant, and in last instant you see this verticity as well. Okay, activate this verticity, and from here you can see the verticity plot as well. So this is the magnitude of verticity. You can change the range of verticity. Okay, so let's say 0 to something like 10 or so. Okay, so slowly you can see the very nice vertices. If you want the so we are at the XY plane, so you're supposed to check a Z component verticity. Okay, so when you go towards Z component verticity, you can see plus and minus range. Okay, so let's change this range something like plus and minus 4. So look, you can see very nice range. Okay, so if you do this verticity calculation for all the backup file, then you can create animation out of this verticity as well. Okay, so when you work with the verticity, you have to rescale based on the max and min value, so that will give you the very nice outputs. Okay, so like that way you can work with different post processing with the help of the Paraform. So I suggest try to run the case with a very fine mesh, okay, for r equal to 10,000 or so. Okay, and then try to explore or try to compare your result with the open literature. Okay, now one last part with this tutorial is something like this way. So go to this 2D cylinder circulation, make it work. Few error is there. Okay, so if you go to this particular case, okay, you will see let me go to that. Sorry, let's open this terminal from that part. Okay, and let's first clean the case. So block mesh is fine. Okay, now simply type a piezoform. When you type it, you see that our test case is not working. Okay, so certain output it gave. So based on your understanding, try to resolve this error, then again type this, you get another error. Step by step try to resolve the errors and make this case to work. Okay, so here we trigger something like 6 to 7 errors. So now I think you are all able to come up with the workable directory out of this error type of the test case. Okay, so that give you the idea how you can come out of this typo type of error where you, while you are modifying something and some error you yourself created, and how to come out of that type of the error. So all this you can come to know with this very simple tutorials. Okay, so please go through it and make this tutorial work. So this is the first part of this piezoform type of the tutorial. Here we try to explore laminar part of the piezoform. Okay, in the next part we're going to explore the turbulent part of the piezoform.